Hello, welcome. Do you know how in Warhammer 40k they say, brother, bring the heavy flamer? We have the heavy flamer and we're not using it because it's not efficient. But the other heavy weapons are kind of cool and they work. They finally work. I've been waiting for this moment for a very long time. Now, what makes the heavy weapon build work after the first DLC? By the way, I hope that they really introduce more items and more builds for the heavy weapons in the upcoming DLCs because it's clearly the most unique way to play Remnant 2. This is one of the mechanics that is actually very specific to Remnant 2. You'll need, of course, the engineer and the summoner. Also, you can wear the heaviest armor. You also will need health, grey health rate and shield amount. There are other ways to do it, but I just prefer to be as tanky as possible because we are really a space marine with a big gun. The creeping mist, just because I like the theme of the build, you know, Misty, dodge, mist, kill enemies in the mist, hide in the mist, twisting wounds just for that extra damage. Keep in mind, shielded strike on a melee weapon still gives you shield when using with Night Guard, so that means the Night Guards will give you shield whenever they attack the enemies. Now, why do we use this particular trinket set? Well, we need the full moon circle just because it's very good at refilling your health if you need it, otherwise it's just 20% extra damage. Which is not that bad, because the main problem with a build like this is that, look at this, the developers don't make it very clear. You have skill crit chance, and then you have heavy weapon crit chance. Plus you have your critical damage and your other crit chances or whatever, I don't know. They should just make it super clear, because apparently some crit chances don't affect other crit chances, if that makes sense. Because this thing over here, it clearly says 10% crit chance for a heavy weapon and 10% critical damage. So it's actually 10% damage and 10% critical chance for heavy weapons specifically. While as you can see, yeah, it's sometimes very hard to understand what the developers meant. So okay, we will use the Ring of Omens, the Full Moon Circlet, of course the Etari booster, and then the Burden of the Socialist, because it buffs both the turret, the minions, and this one, well, I guess it buffs this one a little bit as well. And then finally, the White Glad Speed. Just because you'll be doing so many perfect dodges, you'll not even believe it how good you'll be at perfect dodges with the Misty Step. But you'll also need, of course, as much defense as possible, but 100% take the Flashcaster, otherwise you'll fiddle around with grabbing your turret so much that you'll not be able to do the damage you need to do. And also Fitness. Fitness will help you a lot as well over here. Anyway, there are some other things we can talk about, but let's just start showing the build. What was that? I don't know. Keep in mind, you can reload the turret by just activating your relic, and that's what we'll be doing a lot of the time. Look at how fast this is. I prefer the impact cannon, but the Vulcan is also pretty good. Keep in mind that it will actually pierce enemies and hit all of them. That's cool, right? Sadly, it doesn't fire too fast. I don't know. I also tested or tried to test out some other things. For example, if recoil control or the spread or the other stuff actually affects it from the relics. I think it affects them. Also try having handling at 10, but I'm not sure if someone else can test it and tell me, because from what I tested, nothing affects the heavy weapon, so we cannot improve this over here. Also, if you're just playing around, you don't actually lose stamina or health while teleporting, so if there are no enemies around, you can just do this as many times as you like. It's cool. Also remember, you'll have to do a lot of pressing in the game itself. So you put the weapon down, you pick up the weapon, and then you have to press and hold Q to activate its special ability, or the overclock. The weapons themselves don't do that much damage, but it actually stacks over time. So first we'll do the impact cannon, and then we'll come back to this beautiful thing. Okay, let's eat a vegetable and start. Now, there is a very specific way to start this, depending on the boss. So summon the minions, the sword, the mist, put down this thing, pick it up, press and hold Q, we are locked and loaded. Come on, give me a crit. I didn't get a crit. But as you can see, you can perfectly tank most of the damage, plus the Misty Step will allow us to bypass everything. And as you can see, we're just getting those perfect perfect dodges so fast. I even have time around to play with them. Okay, drop the weapon. Not sure if that actually worked. Reapply everything. Of course, it's on cooldown now. Yeah, that's not a problem. You can tank so much of this stuff. That should have been a weak spot hit, but okay. You still have to get used to this. Also, you have to look at your minions. If both of them die, remember to summon at least one back. Yeah, not the most efficient one, but it's workable and it's actually super fun to play like this. Oh, wow, I guess this can happen as well. Wow, I cannot get it. That's definitely something the developers will have to look at. This is why I think they need separate keys for stuff like this, because I couldn't pick it up. On the other hand, we tanked all of that. Oh wow. The impact damage, the stagger on this gun is amazing. I like it. I like it a lot. Now let's do the Vulcan one, which is actually efficient as well, sadly. Okay, the Vulcan cannon is actually more efficient than the impact cannon, but it's not as flashy, it's not as interesting, so if you want the efficient build, buy the Vulcan. It also has more ammo, so that means we'll have a lot more DPS in the beginning. Just look at this. Oh, if you hit some weak spots, that's glorious. But sadly, I think the overclock is over so fast when you have the machine gun, the Vulcan out. Plus you get a lot more control over your hits, and the Vulcan can actually hit the balls of Talrata. Wow. So we need a little bit of cleanup over here. Okay, just reload. Use a relic, pick up the turret, start shooting again. Yeah, look at that. I don't know, the developers seem to think of some of the more obscure things, but not of the more important ones. Okay, just use the swords again. This is so much more fun, I don't know, than other builds, because we have so much control, so much tankiness. This is a relic. Doesn't even matter. Like we're doing skate shooting or whatever that thing is called. Where you shoot the clay pigeons. Not even a chance to hit me, come on. Yeah, let's test it out against enemies. You can actually gain a lot of ground before the enemies will reach you. But sadly, since this doesn't have, you know, stagger or impact over other, well, over the impact cannon, like the impact cannon has, it will be a lot harder to handle a lot of enemies at the same time. Yeah, I think the impact cannon does a lot better of a job at dealing with enemies like this. So I guess the impact cannon gets a few extra points for dealing with the enemies so good, dealing with normal enemies so fast. The machine gun is just better against the bosses. Even still, they cannot really kill me, but I'm also very slow at killing them. Yeah, I don't know, it's such a fun way to play the game. See you next time. Bye bye.